Yogis, thanks so much for coming. Welcome to Locked In, brother. And thank you for the sweatshirt, man. I want you to plug in the name of your podcast and what you hooked us up with here today. This thing is nice, well built.
Yeah, I didn't know what size you were, but I figured I've heard people say that you're bigger in real person, so I got you a large.
Perfect.
The podcast is called Have Faith, Show Love, Give Hope. I'm from Toledo, Ohio, so I promote kind of like, I believe in Jesus Christ, but my thing is to have faith and have faith. That's me. Show love and give hope. Show love by having guests on so they can tell their story, and something we say can maybe give hope to the next person, and kind of doing the same thing you're doing. You know, you're giving people the opportunity to sit down every week, share their story. It's kind of a beautiful thing what you're doing, and a lot of people probably don't realize it, but you know, us podcasters, we kind of like, it's almost like a little therapy session. We help people get a lot of this stuff out, and it creates a beautiful environment. And I don't know, it's just something that I really like to do.
Yeah, I'm trying my best to make it mutually beneficial, you know, for everyone that comes on the show. That's why I always try to plug in, you know, their merch or their podcast or their book, like in the beginning of the episode. And you know, just I'm thankful I have enough viewership where, you know, hopefully that translates over to some of my guests if their story resonates with my audience, if they like that. Mm-hmm. And, you know, not every episode's going to be for everyone. From an audience perspective, there might be a guest you really relate to and you like listening to, and there might be another guest that just drives you crazy, you know, and it's not for you. So that's why I put so much content out and get those stories out there. Yeah. But I appreciate the kind words, and I know you're a supporter. You got our merch. I was going to send it to you, and you're like, I got you, brother. Got you. Yeah. But whenever I have like a guest that asks for the merch, I happily, you know, send it to them. And I always see you commenting, I think on Facebook.
So. I'd be on Facebook more.
Yeah. Everyone's like on their own platform. You got the Facebook fans, you got the TikTok, you got the Instagram, you got the YouTube. Everyone's different. And then obviously like Spotify and Apple. And
you blew up on TikTok, right?
Yeah, TikTok, and I'd say Facebook, a lot of people know me from a view perspective. And then obviously YouTube, I have a lot of views, and you know, I think we're approaching like 200 million views and the subscribers and stuff. So, but I started just, you know, where you're starting now and where so many people that come on the show who have podcasts started as well too.
Absolutely.
But I never forget where I started, you know, that's why I try to help out people as much as I can, you know, whenever I can.
I'm pretty starstruck because like I watch your podcast all the time, and you know, I'm a podcaster, so people, when they come to mind, they were like, "Oh man, like this is awesome." So I feel like that, like this is awesome getting to meet you, and you know, and I think that everything you're doing is amazing. I like how you got different types of people on and stuff like that. And one thing I've always wanted to ask you, and there's a question that I've always wanted to ask you is if, like, how you got locked in, right, with Ian Bick, but your YouTube is called Ian Bick, and then you have different. What was your mindset about that, having different shows on one platform?
So what I went, like most people, it's common sense to kind of just, you start a business or a podcast. In this case, you make a new page for it. So you would have like a separate YouTube, a separate Instagram, a separate Facebook. But I was like, you know, what if I just put everything in one? I already had like a base of followers. I had a few thousand friends on Facebook and like 5,000 Instagram followers. So that was my base. Why change that up? Why go start a brand new page and work from the way up? So I just kept everything Ian Bick, you know, because locked in with Ian Bick. Ian Bick is locked in is Ian Bick. So I kept it and rode with it. And most people won't tell you to do that. And most people don't do that because they want to keep it separate. But I mean, that's the platform I built using my name. I'm the brand, you know, in a way. So that's why I did it that way.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. Because my podcast, at first it was called Big Yogi's Garage. Then I changed the name to Have Faith, Show Love, Give Hope, because my life changed. I met Jesus, my life changed. You know, so I have a whole story about that. But like, I also want to do like a podcast in Spanish with somebody one day. I also want to kind of like how you do the cook-off shows. So I was thinking like maybe I should do something like where I'd make my platform my name and then have separate shows on it on the same platform, because I don't want to create a whole nother YouTube for something in Spanish or a whole nother YouTube for like, maybe I do something else, on my platform. I want to kind of keep it in-house.
Yeah, absolutely. So where were you born? Where are you from?
Okay.
Yeah.
I was born in Cuba, and I came here when I was about 5 or 6 months old. I was a little tiny baby back in 1980. The Cuban government and the United States government made it like a treaty, and they let all kinds of people come. There was 125,000 Cubans came. It's called the Maria Boat Lift, and I was part of that. I came as a little baby on a boat. My mom, it was just me and my mom that came from Cuba. My mom was pregnant with my sister, and then my mom had also 4 other kids, so I'm the oldest of 5. My dad wasn't in the picture because my dad had came from Cuba like a few months before by himself. So it was basically just me, my mom, and my 4 brothers and sisters. I'm the oldest of 5. I was raised to just always to be like the big brother, to protect her, because I was a big brother. So, and my family, we came from Cuba, so we ended up somehow living like in these back then when these people came, there were so many people that came. There were like these shelters underneath bridges and stuff, just like the movie Scarface when the Cubans came. Then there was a bunch of church tents, right? So my grandma went to a church tent because my grandma was a Jehovah's Witness, and that church moved them to Toledo, Ohio, kind of sponsored the family, We got to Toledo, Ohio. It was my grandma, my grandpa. They had 14 kids, whole bunch of grandkids. So it was like 30 something people. They helped them all move to Toledo, Ohio, and that's where we created our basically our footstep, our first things here in Toledo. My family is really big in Toledo. All my aunts are like church-going aunts, and then my uncles were, running the streets, doing all of the stuff like in the 80s. Back in the 80s, I was a young kid, but growing up, I got in I was around, like my uncles all had money, everybody, they were kicking it. My grandpa was known, like he was on The Blade. Like The Blade is like the newspaper, the Toledo Blade. They got caught like a big drug conspiracy when I was like 9 years old. So everybody knew that like my family was like in this drug conspiracy type deal. They ended up going to jail. That's kind of like the first time that I remember anything going on with prison and jail. I was always around that kind of stuff. When I was 16, like one of my cousins came out of prison, and that's kind of when I kind of start getting in the game myself. I wasn't selling drugs, but I was running things around, taking thing here, taking that here, for nothing, for like $100 to go do this, $100 to do that. And then as time went on, I got deeper in it. One of my uncles wanted to like grow some cannabis, so we started growing cannabis in abandoned houses. We would buy like 5,000. Even my cousins and my uncles, they want to buy like these houses, and we would put like indoor grow operations inside of them because we knew people in Florida that were doing it. So we brought it to Toledo. And then that lasted a few years. But a lot of my family was in and out of jail the whole time. People were going in, going out, and we, about 16, that's when I started it. Then this is like leading up into like my 20s, 30s. I've always been dealing with this. I've always had a job though. Ever since I was 16, this whole time I'm working. I've always had jobs. I worked at a factory for like 10 years, forklift driving. I worked at all different kinds of little stuff. But then eventually, like one time, like some of my friends were asking me, hey, can you get some for us? Can you get some drugs for us? And I was like, yeah, I know people, I know a lot of people. So I started getting drugs in front of them to people. No one was paying me, I would get in front and I would front them to people. They would give me the money, I would give it back, and I would make a couple dollars. I wasn't I was never a good drug dealer. I never was like the type of drug dealer like to make a lot of money. I was doing it kind of like to help my friends out, to kind of get them going, doing something. And then eventually, like my cousin, the one that I mainly like dealt with, he ended up passing away in a car accident. When he passed away, I was I had met this girl and I was living with this girl, and her brother was getting out of prison. Her brother was getting out of prison, and we had a spare bedroom, and he got the spare bedroom. We let him live there, and then eventually he asked me if I could get some drugs. When I got him some drugs, what happened was I got him some drugs, and then I didn't know, but eventually he somehow got caught, you know, and instead of going to jail or whatever, he started working with the cops, and he ended up getting me and about I think it was 17 of us caught up in this big heroin indictment, you know, and there was some people got caught with cocaine, some people got caught with heroin, guns, money. So it kind of balled it all into this big drug conspiracy where it said we were all going to jail. The main thing was 20 years. And as you know, if you plead guilty to this, you know how they do it. They give you 20 different things. And then I ended up pleading guilty because the thing is, okay, at first I was nah, I don't want to plead guilty right away. But at first it was an 8-ball, they were going to charge me with an 8-ball. But somebody was talking, they had everybody, in and out of, courts and stuff. But they put me another 24 or 28 grams on my thing. So the lawyer's well, now they want to charge you with, it's either from 1 gram to 100 grams or something like that. There's a bracket in the feds. And that was going to be so many points or whatever. He's if I was you, I would plead guilty now before more people start talking. They start putting more drugs on you. You know what I mean? So I ended up pleading guilty. I ended up getting 36 months. I got 36 months, and then I ended up going to immigration after that because I wasn't born in the United States. So I ended up doing at the end of the day, it was 31 months for good time, because I got out with all my good time, and then 6 more months in immigration. But I ended up going to, I didn't go to the regular BOP like you guys. I went to an immigration, privately owned GEO group. It's called Moshannon Valley. It's in Phillipsburg, Pennsylvania. All immigrants. No one really talks English that much besides the COs. And then some inmates speak English, but the majority of inmates are all speaking Spanish. There's Russians, there's Italians, there's everybody from every single country besides United States and Puerto Rico. Other than that, there's 90 something countries. And then I went there and I was really nervous because, well, I mean, there's, at first, I had to, hold on, let me tell you before I get into the prison part. So I was out on bond. I was supposed to, they gave me the 3 years. They clunked the gavel in, or 3 years in prison. I started smoking weed. That day I got out. I was supposed to turn myself in December 1st. I started smoking weed because I was fuck it, they gave me 3 years. Oh, well. A couple of weeks later, the supervised release guy that I had, he calls me and he says, "Hey, Yogi, I need you to come down here and talk to me." And I'll say, "Well, I already got my date. I'm getting turned in. I'm turning myself in on December 1st. And he wasn't having it. He wanted me to come in. He said if I didn't come in on the next Monday, he was going to send the marshals to come raid my mom's house and my sister's house and all that. So I ended up going Monday. I turned myself in. They arrested me there. That's the first time I ever really went to prison. This is jail, but this is the first time. Before it was just a couple hours here and there. Even when I first got caught, I only went for a few hours, and I got released. But so I go to Toledo County Jail. I was there 15 days. A bunch of the people that were in the case were there. They were "Oh man, what's up?" And you're talking about the case. A bunch of local people, talking to them. From there, they say, bunk and junk, boom, they put me on a sheriff's van, take me to a plane, Con Air, we're all shackled, prison clothes, walking like a little penguin up to the airplane. It's all degutted inside, all metal. Con Air. We get in there. We don't know where we're going. I don't know where we're going. They don't explain nothing to us, Boom, we fly, we stop somewhere, all the marshals get out. They pick up Jared from Subway.
Jared Fogle.
Yeah, Jared Fogle. They pick him up. They're like, everybody's yelling and they're like, hey, man, saying all kinds of offensive things to him. And they're like, shut up, shut up. They put him in there. Then we go to Oklahoma. We don't even know, but we're going to Oklahoma. Some people go right from the plane to the prison. Some other people have to go out, and I was one that had to go to another place called Grady County, Oklahoma. That's another county jail. That's where the Tiger King was. Like during COVID, the Tiger King, I remember seeing that on there. He was calling from there. So I was there at Grady County. From Grady County, I was there like 15 days, bought a bunch of commissary. You know how like the day you get the commissary, they're like, all right, you can pack up. So I had to give someone my commissary. So I just found like the poorest guy, like there was like a Puerto Rican guy. I was like, Puerto Rico here. He was like, thank you, bro. It was like $60. Gave him the commissary. They take me on a same thing, bus back to Oklahoma from the Oklahoma prison on a plane to like somewhere in New York. I don't know where. We get out somewhere either New York or Pennsylvania.
Oh, at the airport?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's like an hour from your Stewart Air Force Base.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Yeah.
So then they take me there, put me on a bus. There's a bunch of buses. One says Geo. They're like, you're going on that one. So I already know. I kind of knew because my lawyer told me that I was going to go to a private prison. And he was like, oh, man, he was kind of worried. Like, these are the worst prisons, all immigrants, this and that.
Wait, so why would they say you could surrender and then all of a sudden call you to the supervised release office?
Because I was supposed to surrender, but like I also was supposed to keep in touch with him and go and drop like every week.
Oh, so you were bailing on him.
Yeah, I kind of went MIA on my supervised release.
So that's what happened. So he revoked it. So you would have self-surrendered to a GO.
Yeah, I was going to go December 1st to go turn myself in.
But do you think it still would have been at one of these immigration facilities?
Yeah, it was still there because that's where I was going to go anyways.
I thought normally you serve your time in a regular facility and then they'll send you to a GO afterwards.
Well, no, it was I had to do that. That was my regular time, was at that GO, and then when I got out, immigration picked me up, and I had to go to like those holding cells. Like it was a bunch of different holding cells, like in Pennsylvania, that I ended up going all kinds of places.
Yeah, we'll get to that part.
Yeah.
All right. So now they bring you to this GO.
Yeah. So this GO is there's two different kinds. There's a GO and like something like there's two private prisons, and they're all get contracts from the BOP to store like the immigrant population. So basically, all these people, they can, you can buy stocks in GO Group right now, and like by all of this stuff, all this immigration people getting picked up, those stocks are gonna go up. You know what I mean? So I get there first day, first time I've ever been locked up, like in prison, anyways. They take me, I go to I walk in, I go to the laundry room. They give me like, the bed and the thing, like the clothes, to get the little bag, the little thing. I walk in, they're like, okay, you're going to be in A unit. There's like four units, A, B, C, and D. Each one has their pods. They're each inside A unit, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 all like this. There's a bubble in the middle. The bubble in the middle, there's 2 COs. There's 2 COs, there's 72 inmates in each pod. 1 and 2 has an access door, so you can go into 1 and 2. 3 and 4, 5 and 6. You can actually visit. Not too many people go to other pods, but each pod has like their own rules, their own structure, the way they, you got to wear sandals for this. You got to make sure you wear a shirt on when you get ice. They don't want nobody getting ice and like, one of your armpit hairs get in there. Everyone has a certain TV. The Cubans have a certain table. The Africans have a certain TV, a certain table. You can only like take showers from like 10 in the morning to like 10 at night. Before 10 a.m., there's only whispers. You can only talk like after 10 a.m., you can talk loud as you want. Because there's, all these people in there, and some people wake up early, some people don't. Some people have jobs, some people don't. So it's like, and as soon as I walk in, they're like, where are you from? And I'm like, I'm from Ohio, because that's where I thought that's the way it ran in the feds, your car is like 060, that's the Ohio car. But this is different because this is an immigration prison, even though they don't count it as immigration. This is your BOP time. This is your federal BOP time. They just house us all there. Immigration might come like once a month and just talk, and they don't even care. They don't even talk to you about nothing. So I get there. So basically they wanted me to say I'm Cuban. So finally got out, I'm Cuban. Okay, there's two Cuban guys that come. They explain to me a little bit of the house rules for that pod. And they say, tomorrow we're going to go meet with the yard representatives at the kitchen. And that's when, they'll talk to you. You show them your paperwork. And I was like, oh, I didn't know my paperwork. But it's okay. We'll show you. You talk to they explain to me everything. Like, this is what's going to happen. This was like right before New Year's. It was like, January something. It was like right after Christmas. I did Christmas in Oklahoma, and this was right before New Year's. Like, so I quit. The next day, boom, talk to the representatives. They tell me all the rules. No fighting with Cubans. No stealing. We don't play around with no same-sex stuff. Like no same-sex stuff on this yard. And then follow your rules in your pod. There's going to be we're Cubans. There's only like 40 to like 30 to 40 of us, but we run with the Dominicans. We run with the Dominicans if something big happens. So they basically said, Dominicans, the Jamaicans and the Africans and the Cubans, it's kind of like a Caribbean and plus the Africans, that they run together if something major happens, because the Mexicans have thousands of them. You know what I mean? So we kind of they kind of lay out the land, and he basically tells me, if you don't like how this prison is run, just let me know. I can have you out of here within the next couple of days. Because basically they don't want no problems. It's all ran by the inmates, the COs and all that. Every CO knows who the representative is for every race. They know who the other. So basically, there's a yard representative, and then every unit has like a representative. So the A unit, B, and then like you kind of like, if I want to tell you something in A unit, I just tell that A unit representative. He goes in and he tells you the rest of the people, and that's kind of how it's all ran by the prisoners. None of the COs, there's two COs, and they come like once an hour with the remote, and everybody be like, hey, the CO's coming. They got like every pod has a certain word. And there's people, in bathroom tattooing. There's people like in the toilets, like smoking K2, all kinds of shit. The only thing we didn't have was cell phones. I never once seen a cell phone at all at that prison, because the guards were like, American, this was back when Trump was first bid, so they had the red hats, make America great again. Like, they treat us like you're here to steal our jobs.
Oh, so they're a very anti-immigrant.
Yeah, because it's like this country town, like Phillipsburg, Pennsylvania, way out in the sticks. Like the only thing there is like the prison.
What kind of inmates were there? Like, what were their charges? Was it violent mixed with regular? Like, because there's not that many of these facilities. So did they have a classified by security level, or is everyone just together?
No, it's more of a medium low. But some people got like 30 years for like selling. But this is like, they're at the end of their bids. So no one's there doing 30 years at that place. But like, say like they get down to their last 3 years and they lost a bunch of points, they'll be there. But I don't think no one's there for like murder or anything like that. Most people are drug offenses, a lot of drug offenses, a lot of Mexicans like from the El Chapo stuff, like, all of these people that were like caught in these indictments from like Chicago, Arizona, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and then a lot of Dominicans that get caught up in New York, Connecticut, all around here, Pennsylvania. So there's a lot of Dominicans, a lot of Mexicans, but not too many. Just like Cubans, there's like a couple, but most of it's drug offenses.
What's everyone's attitude in there about getting deported? Because I assume every single one of them is facing deportation. Do people talk about it? Are they like, oh, I'm going to find a way back in? Mm-hmm. Are they sad because they're separated from their families? What's kind of that demeanor?
Yeah, they're super sad, dude, because a lot of them come up here, and yeah, they made mistakes, man, but it's so easy to go to prison, one little stupid thing and then your whole life is gone. Of course, some of them made big time mistakes. They were selling major kilos. They got 30 years, but their wives are here. Their kids are here. Some of these people, some of them like me, I came here when I was 6 months old. I grew up in Toledo, Ohio for 36 years. I make a mistake. I go to prison and then we don't know what's going on. Luckily, I'm from Cuba, and Cuba didn't accept me, so I got out. But basically, I'm like on immigration probation for the rest of my life. I have to check in with immigration every year. But a lot of these people are sad, man. They're sad, they're scared. A lot of these people also sometimes I seen it where they get out and they're fearing for their lives. They're like, no, I can't go back because maybe they did something down there, or maybe they worked with the police over here and they got somebody arrested. They'll leave, dude. You'll see them leave, and a few months later, you'll see on the Dominican news that guy got murdered down there in Dominican. Because something happened. There's a reason why you're here. There's a reason why we come here. But I mean, yeah, of course, we shouldn't be doing what we're doing up here. We should be doing something better. But
yeah, so let's talk about that. Did your mom or family members, anyone in your family, ever have a talk with you when you were young and old enough to comprehend it of, hey, this is your status here. You're not yet a citizen, so you shouldn't go down this path. Like, did you know when you started drugs, there was that risk of getting caught and facing deportation?
Yeah, I did. Okay. At first I didn't know. My mom used to say, so I came here when I was 6 months old. My mom became an American citizen when I was 13. I should have got it it's like a parental right. If you bring your son, when the parent becomes an American citizen, I should have got it. But for some reason I applied, they denied it. So anyways, my mom used to say, don't, become an American citizen, I had a green card, so I didn't know that I could lose it. I didn't know all that. I was young, I was dumb. She used to tell me to become an American citizen, but I was always so proud to be Cuban. I was always like, I'm Cuban, but also I didn't know that if I get caught up in some thing, I'm gonna lose all my rights here. So I'm just being stupid. Like, I know that not knowing the law is like, the judge told me like not knowing the law is like it's my fault, not nobody else's fault. You know what I mean?
But technically, anyone would know that drug dealing is illegal, right? Or
yes.
Or do you feel like you didn't have that guidance?
No, yeah. Because like I said, I seen it my whole life. I seen people around me. I didn't have the right guidance of someone that I loved and respected teaching me the right way. The people that I loved and respected always taught me the wrong way. My mom, but I didn't look up to my mom like that. My mom was like a church going lady. I looked up to, the guys, all the men around me. All the men around me was doing a bunch of, doing dumb shit, But even like my friends were all they're following their, so I didn't have any good guidance teaching me. I wish I could have somebody to teach me the right way. I didn't have it.
Before you were arrested, did you have dreams and goals of like a career? Did you want to go to college? What do you want to do in life?
Well, right before around 2011, I got wind that something was going on. Somebody said that that the cops had asked about us or my name or something. So around 2011, I got a job at the Hollywood Casino, which is a local casino in Toledo, and I started working in the cleaning department. I've always had jobs, but this was just like, I'm gonna go work at the casino. I like gambling, but I stopped gambling and I went inside the casino and I said, you know what, I'm just gonna work my way up. One day this is gonna be Yogi's Casino. I kind of put that in my mind, and I worked in the cleaning department, cleaning slot machines, and then I ended up going to the poker room. I ended up bidding for a new job. I wore a suit every day. I got a gaming's license, and I was gonna work my way up and be like in the corporate business, in the in the casino. Also, at first I didn't have no goals. I just worked from factory to factory. I didn't have any kind of ambitions or anything like that.
And did you graduate high school?
No.
Oh, you never graduated high school?
No. When I was 16, my whole entire family, all my uncles and everybody got caught in this big drug conspiracy. And I just quit high school and I got a job with my mom, and I started working, just giving my mom all my checks.
What did she end up doing for work when she moved here?
My mom was like a waitress her whole life. She was always like working either a banquet waitress, or she does like salads. And then she ended up working at a factory. We ended up both working at a factory for a long time, like 10 years.
Okay. So now going back to this facility, this prison facility, what was like a typical day for you? How would you spend it?
At first, I was kind of like watching, like my first 3 months, I just kind of sat back in my, the first, like, remember, like said that I got there on New Year's? On New Year's, I was like looking around. People were like dancing. Like one guy had like a sheet around and he was dancing on a table like a girl. Like they were doing they had spreads, a bunch of spreads. So I was like, what? This place is different. This is not what everybody was telling me. This is going to be the feds. It's lots of respect, But the guy came up to me. He's like, hey, this is just for the New Year's. We're going to have fun. We're going to party. I just sat in my bunk and watched. And then like the next 3 months, I just kind of watched. I kind of seen what men do because, like I said, I never really had the right guidance, So I kind of like looking around, seeing how people go to the shower, seeing how people, make their food, how they cook. I had other Cubans guiding me, they were telling me like, come down to the yard. We played dominoes at the time. We have a workout session down there. They had like 2 different times. The Cubans had like a spot where they would work out. So I would go down there, I would meet them. And then eventually I started getting like to know everybody. And then when I finally, started getting my routine, I would wake up super early. I would go, there was a Cuban guy named Robert, and then I started jogging. Like we would do 20 laps with Robert in the morning. Then I would go to like we would wake up, go to breakfast, and then go meet with Robert, do our 20 laps. And then there was like something like some kind of count. And then we would go to lunch. Then when after lunchtime, we would all meet at the gym. Some of the older Cubans would play dominoes and some of the younger Cubans would have a workout time. And then after that, there was a 3 o'clock count. After the workout, we would go inside, do the 3 o'clock count. As soon as that cleared, we were all allowed to go to the yard. If it was a nice summer day, we would all go like by the baseball diamond. There were a whole bunch of Cubans there, and Cubans all shake hands. They all shake hands. They all like, if you don't shake your hand, one guy's hand, he's like, "What's up, man? You got something with me?" You know what I mean? Like, so you're all saying what's up to everybody. Sometimes we played, sometimes we would come out, we would have like the soccer balls and we'd set up little cones and we would a couple Cubans just set up and play soccer, or we would just shoot the shit, just talk about, things that what was crazy when I got there, a lot of the Cubans, they knew my family. They're like, "Oh yeah, your uncle." One guy brought pictures of like, "This is your uncle. Look, your uncle's, this is like, I met them in Florida." Cause like my uncles were in the game for years. You know what I mean? So by the time I got there was people, they all knew people that I knew, people that, you know what I mean? Nobody knew me, but they heard of my family. So, and then it was a lot of politics, you know what I mean? You got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do this. But I was never like too much into the politics until basically I ended up getting drug into it.
Now, were there case managers, counselors and stuff like a normal prison would have?
Yep.
And
everybody
support services?
Yep. It was, everything was there. There was the chaplain, like you said, the counselors. I had a counselor. But the thing is, it wasn't too much. There was a bunch of like classes and courses, but supposedly 99% of these people are going to get, 99% of these people are going to get deported. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So they're not pushing rehabilitation or anything.
So
like
they
that.
are. They say they are, but none of those things are going to apply for you. that GED, you're going to go to Mexico. That thing you're going to do, you know, but you might learn how to work on small motors because they had like a course like that. And then that could help you, you know, further on, you know. But yeah, they have all the classes, all the courses. The Cubans have this thing called Santeria. Like they worship like these spiritual things and stuff, and you can go there. Like the chaplain will bring you a cigar. All the Cubans get in there, and every week on Sunday we get like one black and mild, not a black and mild, but like the Swishers, and we all hit the cigar. We pass it around. Even if you're not religious, you just go in there and just hit the cigar. So every week we got to all hit a cigar, and you know. That was like such a thing in prison. And then the butt, you have to give it back to the chaplain and he has to put it like in a certain place and all that.
Now, what was your mom's reaction to you getting, you know, arrested, sent to prison? How is she dealing with this with you?
My mom was devastated, man, because my mom always, like, she brought me when I was 6 months old and she always wanted me to become somebody. She always harped on me to do something in my life, but I would always tell her, like, I don't care. I had like this thing where I didn't care when I was young. Sometimes I would stay up all night with my friends. I would come home at 3 a.m. and go to sleep on the front porch. It was snowing. My mom would open the door, like, what are you doing out here on the floor? Like, what are you doing? I'm like, Mom, I don't care. She's like, get inside. Yeah, she was so frustrated because that put extra pressure on her. I wasn't this big drug dealer where I had a bunch of money saved up or nothing. I had to get a public defender. I had to do it all like the hard way, you know what I mean? And then when I went to prison, I didn't have nothing. I had a girlfriend. Oh, look at this. I had a girlfriend. I ended up marrying her in the county jail when I was in county jail right before I went to prison. And then she ended up leaving me when I was in prison. Like when I had 6 months left, I called her one day. She was crying. She said, oh, I slept with somebody, whatever. And then we ended up splitting up. So when I got out, I had nothing. My mom was the one that was supporting me in jail, sending me books, along with my sister and, you know, a couple other people. But a couple of my friends gave her like, you know, a couple $. So it was really hard on her.
Now, why did you start to get into the politics in prison that you were mentioning?
Okay. So I got 3 years in that prison. About a year and a half in, the Cubans weren't as sophisticated as the Mexicans. The Mexicans, like I remember earlier, I told you they had a representative in each pod. So the Mexicans, the Dominicans, because they had large numbers, they had it like that. The Cubans just had 1 yard leader. But that 1 yard leader ended up leaving, right? So he got out. He went back to New York. So when he got out, there was like a bid up for the new yard representative. And there was a guy, the guy that I told you, there's a guy that he had what's it called when you steal an airplane? Hijacked an airplane. He's from Connecticut. He hijacked an airplane and he was at Fort Dix. He did like 20 years in prison, but I think like year 17, he ended up transferring to my prison. And then he's a Cuban guy. They wanted to make him the representative because he's been down so long, you know, and he was like really good dude. Like he was real respectful. So they kind of like, everyone got together and they said, you're going to be the representatives of the Cubans. So he kind of said, yeah, because you don't want to say no to that, because if you say no to that, they can actually, you know, whatever. They can make you disappear in one of those jails. They can just tell the yard guy or tell the white shirt, like, this guy's not with us. And they'll just make your ass disappear, you know?
Disappear to where? Like a different unit?
Like you go to the hole and then eventually go to another prison.
Okay.
Like if someone's fighting, like if you're a Cuban and you keep fighting with everybody, the yard representative can go straight to the white shirt and say, you know what, this guy's not going to fit for this compound. He's going to end up bringing like a race riot. You know what I mean?
Were there a lot of fights there?
There wasn't a lot of fights, but there was a couple. One time there was a Mexicans fought. It was like this thing over the TV, and they beat him so bad that the helicopter came on the yard, took him, and life flight him to the hospital.
All over a TV.
Yeah, all over a TV. Anyways, what were we saying?
About you getting into the politics. You said that guy became the representative. So when
the guy left, there was the new representative, the guy from Fort Dix, but he also wanted to, like, I was talking to him in the yard, and me and him kind of, because he trusted in me. Me and him like always like walked the yard and talked and stuff. And I told him, do it a little bit like the Mexicans, do it like the Dominicans. You're the yard leader, but you have A, B, C, and D representatives. And he said, okay, he made me the A representative. So that's how I got into the politics. I became the representative for the A, and then we found representatives for each unit. You have to basically live in that unit. You live in that unit. We found the most respectful one guy. And it's all about love and respect. It's not about dictatorship. It's not about, oh, I'm in charge of you. No, it's about trying to make the prison run as smooth as possible so nobody gets in any kind of trouble so we can all get out. You know what I mean? So I became the A representative. And then when my basically just going in there, hey, we got to go meet at the yard today, or hey, we got to do this. Sometimes we would go on food strikes. Hey, we're not eating tomorrow because we need something to happen in the prison up for something, And then my last 6 months, I was about to get out. I had 6 months left. That guy got out. When he got out, they wanted to make another representative. And I was like, no, because they wanted me to become representative. And I was like, no, because I only got 6 months left. So we all sat there. We did like a vote. There was like 3 guys that wanted to do it, and they all voted me. And I could not say no because that's what they want. You say no, like I said, they'll make your ass disappear, or they just don't appreciate that. So my last 6 months, I became the #1 yard leader at Moshannon Valley.
For the Cubans.
For the Cubans, yeah.
Okay.
Nobody else.
How many people would you say are?
It was
in the
about
Cuban?
35 to 42 people would get in and out. So it's just a small group of people, just basically helping people translate, going to taking care of people, bunk moves. Some Cuban might come up like, hey man, I'm tired, sick and tired of this guy. This actually happened. He said, I'm sick and tired of this Mexican guy. If you don't get me out of there, I'm going to throw hot oil on him tonight. And I was like, bro, his name was Coqui. I was like, Coqui, no way. Cubans are wild, bro. Cubans, they're the ones that started this big riot in Atlanta, and they burned down prisons like back in the 80s. Oh shit. So there's a lot of crazy Cubans. So they whip out their dicks. That's like that's like a middle finger to them. It's like whipping out their thing, they're real disrespectful. They throw shit on people. They throw urine on people. Not at my prison. At my prison, there was kind of the calm ones, but I know their background. So when he told me that he was going to throw hot oil on this guy, I took it real seriously. You know what I mean? I went, talked to the white shirt. I said, we got to move him today. So he said, okay, where's the best unit? I said, move him to my unit. We'll take care of him. So the white shirt came and got me like right after 3 o'clock count. It was like a 3:30 count or something like that. As soon as they cleared, boom, we went over there. I would go with the tow. We got all the stuff, brought him to my last 6 months. I was there. The dude was fine. He had no problems with nobody.
Now, are you having meetings with the other yard reps from the other races?
Not really. If they need something, they'll come talk. They'll come send somebody to talk to me. But it was only mainly one time about the TVs. That time that Mexican guy got really beat up. That was an argument over a Cuban and a Mexican over the TV. There was I was the #1 rep at that time, and the Cuban wanted to watch a certain show, and the Mexican wanted to watch a certain show. And then what we ended up doing, like, that fight broke out, and all of this stuff, people got locked up, all this stuff, because the Mexican wouldn't listen to the Mexican representatives. The Cuban did listen. We said, hey, you're going to get your own slot. Don't worry about it. You'll be able to watch something at some time. But the Mexicans, because the Mexicans, they run together, but they also run separate. Mexico has a bunch of states. So the Sinaloa guys might not fuck with the Mexico City guys. So there was like this group was trying to tell this group what to do. You know what I mean? Like, you can't do this. And these were the yard leaders telling and then they got into a big fight, and all these guys came and jumped them and beat them up real bad. The guys got life flighted. And, there wasn't too many times where it was like a big, I had to go talk to certain people for certain things, mainly just control like my group of people and try to make sure there's no because a lot of it's inner fighting, you know what I mean? A lot of it, they want you to, they'll say like a Cuban's doing this. They'll say, hey man, I see him doing this. You should go talk to him, make sure you know. And I'll go talk to him, or one guy, because he's sitting at the table or, for some reason, I don't know, some dumb, usually it's stupid stuff.
Were the whites in the minority there?
the whites were minority because it was like Canadians, Europeans, Yugoslavians, like people from like Russia. But
their numbers must have been small,
dudes,
right?
huh?
Their numbers must have been small in each community. Like how many Russians could be in one?
Yeah, the Russians were like maybe 10, but the Italians were like 10, But like say like someone from British, it was like probably like 2, you know what I mean?
So did all the whites just ride together?
Yep, they just rode together.
Okay.
They rode together, but there were some big ass white dudes, you know what I mean? Because them Russians and stuff, they're like some big old dudes. So no one, there was so much respect, Ian, like. More respect than I ever seen in any prison at all, because like everybody's like in the same boat too. We're all immigrants. We're all here. And there was like, even like the Africans, there was no like, like if you're in the county jail, there's all these Bloods and Crips and they're all gangstered out and they're all tough and stuff. No, at that prison, there's Jamaicans and there's Africans, and they're the most respectful Jamaicans you ever meet, and the most respectful Africans. Like everything's like super respectful. Everyone's holding the door for everyone. We also had like these dog things where like people could like train dogs. They would come with the dogs. We would pet the dogs, take pictures, and it was like so much love and respect. The fights would only be like here and there. It was mainly everyone just helping everyone to become a better person. What
about the food situation? Is it the same that they serve in the other federal prison systems or no?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've never been to any other one, but from what I hear on your podcast.
Yeah, walk us through like the menu.
The menu is the same thing. I see a lot. One day is like tuna, with the onions and stuff. The burgers, the fake meat.
Oh yeah, did you guys have we had chicken Thursdays?
Yep.
All right, so it's the same menu. Fish Fridays.
Yep, Fish Fridays, okay. Thursday. Yep, same menu. A lot of beans, because we're now our commissary was probably a little bit different. We had a lot of like fresh fruits.
Fresh fruits?
Yeah, no, not fruits, fresh vegetables.
Okay,
my bad.
Fresh vegetables, even though that's even crazier.
We have vegetables because they had made all this like Spanish rice. They had the bags of rice, the bags of beans. The coffee you could do almost anything with coffee. It's kind of like trade. You can trade it for money, everything.
Yeah, I don't know why they don't just sell fresh vegetables on the commissary, because guys just steal it out of the kitchen anyways. Yeah. At least the prison system might as well just make money from it. They sell fresh garlic that you would cut up, which I don't know how they expect people to cut up unless you make a contraband knife. No. But I don't get it. People are just going to steal it. They should just sell it. Sell onions. People will buy it.
Yeah, they should sell all of that
Sell
stuff.
Eggs. Sell all that.
Yeah, the only thing like all the vegetables, they sold all those vegetables.
So you could buy like an onion?
You could buy an onion. Sometimes they have like a big bruise in it. You just cut it out. You know what I mean?
That's smart.
It's not the best stuff. I think they send a lot of like the secondhand stuff. But yeah, we had all that stuff. We had all the like the Latino stuff, like the Goya.
We had that. Yeah,
they had
adobo,
all the. Yeah, they had all that
Sazon.
stuff. Well, once every like 6 months, we could order these big juices, like the Goya juices. Like the big,
I used to love those.
Yeah, we could order that there through the chaplain and through the church and stuff.
I love all those juices. It's just there's so much sugar.
Yeah, they're so bad.
But I used to drink those all the time, like the nectar and you got your woo energy. You got to let me know what you think. Ric Flair's woo. What flavor did you grab?
This one is dragon fruit.
What do you think?
It's really good, dude.
Yeah. Give you that woo.
I started talking and I just kind of like forgot to take a drink.
Yeah. So guys there, are they excited to leave, like to get out, to be free, to be released from prison, or are they just dreading it because they know what they're facing?
Yeah. It's
like, how are you feeling?
I was feeling so I was feeling excited because I knew that not a lot of Cubans get sent to Cuba. I was one of the lucky ones in that whole situation, because Cuba is a communist country and they don't get sent back to Cuba. But the majority of the people there are not excited about it. They would rather stay in prison to tell you. I mean, not every single one of them, but there's people in there. They're doing like they're running stores. They're running lottery, or not lottery, but gambling, and they're actually making enough money where they can send their family, like in New York, like rent money and doing all this stuff. But if they go back to their country, there's no way to make that kind of money. So I think the majority of them they want to get out, but they kind of don't, because then they get sent back to like a poor country, where they can't make that kind of money.
Yeah, I experienced that, especially at Fort Dix. There was a lot of immigrants that knew they were going to go to like one of these facilities after they got out, or an ICE facility, and they would rather stay there because they're making money. They're able to send it back to their country. They're able to hustle, and it's a better life for them inside.
And not only their country, sometimes they have family right here. They'll have family, like, right here in New York, and they can actually make a bunch of money. Some of them guys make more money in prison than they do in the streets. And then they basically, like, say you owe me $300, I just say, hey, Ian, have your mom send it to my wife. You know what I mean?
Now, were you guys allowed visits?
Yeah, I had visits, yeah.
But are most people maybe afraid to get a visit if they have illegal immigrant family members?
Well, yeah, probably. Yeah, most people. But there wasn't, nobody ever had any trouble like that, or immigration wasn't there like at the facility picking anybody up. So yeah, like every couple months, I did have my ex-wife came a couple times, but my mom, my sisters, my kids, I have 2 kids.
That was with the ex-wife?
Yeah, with my first wife. I've been married 3 times.
Are you married now still?
Yeah, I'm married right now. I got married now after I got out.
And is she a citizen?
Yes, my wife is a citizen.
And because of your record, does that not make you a citizen?
Yeah, once I went to prison, I kind of lost all those rights.
Man, so you should have married someone that was in the country the first 2 times.
I did, but I did too. Because I always had a green card, and now when you get the felony, you lose your green card.
Even with because the first wife you married in prison.
Yeah. No. My first wife I married when I was like 20 something years old. I had my 2 kids with her.
But she was an immigrant.
She was American citizen.
Oh, so why didn't you get citizenship?
Because the thing is, I don't think you can just like automatically get it just because you marry. I think that's like more of like, or either that or you got to do like apply for it or something.
What if you had citizenship this whole time?
I didn't know, because the only thing I ever applied for was once I was in prison. I applied for getting it through my mom because my mom brought me when I was a baby, and when she became American citizen, I was 13. So maybe I was owed it, but they said no. They sent me back a letter and said no, I don't apply for it.
Did you talk to an immigration attorney while you were in there? Like, did you?
No, because I never had the money, bro. It was like just to get just to talk to them, it's like $500, and then. Not only, but then like the case is like thousands, like 10,000, like 20,000.
Are there public defenders for immigration attorneys or no?
No, they don't provide anything for immigration. That's where they get you. Like you're allowed like the American citizen is allowed, like when you're going to court for the BOP or for feds or whatever, but not for the immigration. You don't get no lawyer. You got to pay for it yourself. And like I told you, I wasn't this big drug dealer, so I didn't have the money.
Now, do you serve the whole 3 years, or do you get good time in immigration?
Yeah, I served 31 months out of my 36. Okay. I think it was 37. I did 31.
And you don't get any halfway house time or anything like that?
No, because since you're an immigrant, you don't. That's another thing. Since you're an immigrant, they basically think you're going to immigration and you're going back to your country.
And so does on someone's release date, does immigration normally just pick them up right there, or are they released and then picked up?
No, right there. It's crazy. My mom sent me my clothes, some Nikes, an outfit. I go to get released. I say bye to everybody. They tell me we made a spread. My last day. I go into the day I leave. I get put on all these clothes. They put me in a room, and then ICE agents come into the other room and say, "Yosvani Gacita, you're getting rearrested for ICE." Boom, they rearrest me, take me to ICE facility, take everything back off, put on, like an orange jumpsuit and get into ICE.
Now, where's this immigration facility?
So now this one. I first they take me from Shannon Valley, and we drive. I don't know where, but it's kind of like this. It's called like Pike County, Pike County, Pennsylvania, or something. It's like right on the border of like Pennsylvania, New York, and New Jersey. It's kind of by like these mountains and stuff. And there, dude, it's crazy. There was like one kid that had murdered some, like like his girlfriend, like in like right next to my like. So it's like immigrants plus the county people, like drug addicts, all of us, and like one guy is like murdered this girl. I'm like, what the hell? Why is he in here with us? But yeah, that's where the immigration hold. I did like 6 months there. I got kind of moved to two different ones. The first one was like a holding facility. I'm not sure where that one was, but they lost all my clothes. The first one, they lost all that stuff that my mom sent me. They sold it or lost it or whatever. And then the second facility, that's where I did most of my time.
And you're not allowed to bring any of your property from that main facility you were in before?
Nothing.
So you're starting fresh, politics, everything.
Yeah.
Are there politics there?
Not in immigration. In immigration, there was really no politics. It was more ran like a county jail. Like everybody kind of runs, by themselves. Nobody really, no trouble. It's like real, like the COs really had that place on lockdown. Like it was ran by the police instead of the inmates,
Can you walk around or are you in your cell all day?
No, you can walk. There's like a pod where everyone's like has their own cell, but you can get out and go to like your little area, and then once a day they have like a yard and you go to the yard, but it's all like enclosed. The yard is just like a chain in the top, you can see, but it's all like everyone playing racquetball and stuff like that.
Mm. And could you get visits there or no visits?
No, there was no visit there.
And what are they telling you when you get there? Like what's the expectancy to actually get physically put on a plane and flown back to your country? So
yeah, they're telling you the whole time, like you're going back to your country. Like if your country doesn't accept you, pick a third country. And I'm like, what the hell? And the judge is like telling you like you're going back to your Cuba. And
so you see a judge when you get there.
Yeah. So when you get there, you get there, they tell you, are you gonna fight it? Are you gonna like plead guilty? Are you gonna fight your deportation? And if you fight it, I seen there was people there. They were like 2 years fighting it, and then all of a sudden they lose it, they get sent back. But they don't want to get sent back so bad, so they just try to fight it. They have their family outside paying lawyers. Everybody's working, trying to pay lawyers. And a lot of these guys, they fight it. And if you don't have a real, like, legit reason why somebody is, like, trying to, like, you got to have paperwork why the government wants you, why you're in such deep trouble. If not, then you're going to fight it, and eventually they're going to send you back. So I didn't fight it. They ended up just deporting me, and then they kept trying. They tried to deport me to Cuba, but Cuba wouldn't accept me because Cuba's a communist country. We have no trade embargo with Cuba. The United States and Cuba, they have like this thing called an embargo where nothing from United States can go to Cuba. There is where people can travel there now. They got like this thing where Obama did like some traveling thing, but we don't have nothing. So they tried to send me, they couldn't.
So what do you mean by tried? Like, were you physically on the plane?
No.
Okay.
So like, there's like a paper, I guess, that they send, but then they send it back or something. I'm not sure. They held me there for 6 months. A lot of the Cubans get out in 3 months. They held me there for like 5.5, 6 months, and they said that they tried to send me, but Cuba didn't accept me.
Now, if you don't fight it there, what's the turnaround time to get shipped out? Like, say you get in there on one day and you say, I'm not fighting it. How long will that person stay there for from what you saw there?
Like, I think about 90 days, they have to decide. I think the government has to decide if you are, eligible to leave. I think they can only hold you for so many days. If after 90 days, there's like, there's like rights and stuff where you can't just hold somebody for no reason. So I think once you're deported, they have like a 90-day period. I think maybe they can extend it to another 90-day period. You know what I mean? Like, but I think within 6 months, people are out of there. Within 3 to 6 months, most people are out of an immigration place.
Do you think that's expedited even now in today's world with what's going on with politics and everything? Because it seems like they're shipping people out pretty quickly.
Yeah, they probably picked it up. They're probably trying to do it as fast as possible right now. But also probably not too, because a lot of this stuff we all think it's all about the politics, but really it's a lot of it's about money. You know what I mean? Because the more people that can get incarcerated, the more money the companies will make, because all of these companies from all the way from the commissary, the telephones, the private prisons. They're all making for every person in there. So the stocks go up. So all those politicians have money in all these. So I don't think it's really good for them to just get them in and out. They take them from this holding facility to another holding facility, then take them to a geo, hold them there as much as they can, and then take them to, you know what I mean? So it's like, and then let's say they pick up an immigrant, right? The immigrant has to do his time first for the crime. So say he stole something, he has to do that whole time here in the United States for stealing something. Then you have to go to immigration, do your immigration time, get deported, and then get sent to your country. It's all a big money machine, this whole system. I mean, the whole thing.
Now, don't some individuals get released on an ankle monitor while they're fighting their immigration case?
I think so, but I think it's really rare.
Did you see that in your experience there? Okay.
Most people, especially because, back then it was Donald Trump was president, and there wasn't letting nobody out. You could try to apply for it, but most people you had to stay in jail while the whole process was being, evaluated.
And
or whatever.
Are the men and women separated?
Yes, it's all men where I was at.
In the same building, just separate? Or was there a whole nother building for women?
I didn't see no women at all, man. And I think it's a whole different prison or something.
And the correctional officers are just whoever that county jail is that's running it, like county employees? Yeah,
because they get like a certain amount per guy from the federal government to house them. So let's say you have a county jail, but you don't really have too many people that go to your county jail. You can get a contract from the federal government, and then you can start housing a bunch of illegal immigrants.
So when you finally get released, what do they say to you?
So like my last day, so like the immigration guy comes to the door, the CO. I think it was like an immigration guy though. It wasn't the CO. It was like the actual immigration. He's like, Gacita, go pick up your stuff. I was like, what? I was so excited because I still didn't know what was going on. So I gave away all my stuff. It was my last day. Give away all my stuff. And then they take me to like a holding cell, you're there, they're doing the process. They write me a check for the amount of my commissary. I think I had like $87. They write me a check. That immigration guy, he's like, where's your clothes? And I was like, dude, they stole it at the other jail. He's like, no way. He's like, so you're going to have to get out in this orange jumpsuit. And I was like, what? Like one of those things that you have upstairs, like one of those orange things. And I'm like, I'm not going to get out like that. So he's like, okay, let's go to this shed. So he took me like to this like immigration like shed that they have like a building over there. And they found like this blue sweatsuit outfit. They had like a bunch. They gave me, it was really tight. I put it on. They gave me one piece of paper that had like my immigration stuff. And I was like, he said, this is what you're going to use for an ID. Go to your house in Toledo, Ohio. This is the immigration guy. He said, go back to your house in Toledo, Ohio. Basically letting me out on supervision, like with my mom, even though I'm 40, you know what I mean? But like, I have to just go back to my address. So I went back, I got he dropped me off at a Greyhound. And he's like, a bus from here is leaving at 3:30 p.m. to Toledo, Ohio. Make sure you get on that bus. I went in there. First we stopped at a bank. He cashed that check. He gave me the money. I went in there with that money. I bought the ticket for the Greyhound. I told the lady this is the only ID I had because she asked me for ID. She said, it's okay. This happens all the time, from the prison. And then I get on the bus, 18 hours, boom, drive to from Pennsylvania to Toledo. At one point, no one knew I was getting out. I called my daughter. I said, Madison, I'm out. She started crying really bad because nobody knew what was going to happen. So she's like, tomorrow, I told her, tomorrow I'll be at the Toledo Greyhound at 8:00, in the morning. Somebody make sure you're there. When I got there, my nephew Michael was there. I was like, what's up? He took me back to my mom's house. That's where everybody was there. I had the whole 3 years I grew my hair really long. I had long hair. I had a big long beard. Everybody said I looked like Jesus. I got out, seeing my kids and my mom for the first time. And that's when this journey, the one that I'm on now, started.
So tell us about that.
Okay, so like at that point, I didn't know what to do. So a lot of my uncles work on the railroad now. A lot of my family works on factory jobs and stuff like that. So, but my mom, this whole time I've been in prison, she cleans houses. She cleans houses for a lady, for like $10 an hour. But also she's been getting her own clients. So she's been kind of working her way out of working for that lady. And she has about 15 houses. So when I get out, I'm like, Mom, let's just start a cleaning business, everything in your name because, I'm a legal immigrant or whatever. Everything's in your name and I'll just help you run it. And we have a cleaning business. So we started Toledo's Best Cleaning. It's a cleaning business. We do residential houses and also some businesses and offices and stuff like that. So that's what we mainly was doing. And we were growing it. We're getting like houses after houses, doing just a really good job. And then I kept listening to podcasts. So I always listen, like putting my earbuds in. And eventually I just kept listening to podcasts, but I was getting bigger. So the whole time I was in prison, I was working out. I was getting fit. And then when I got out, I started working, going to McDonald's, eating unhealthy as hell. I ended up getting sick. So I'm cleaning houses, but I'm getting fat and I ended up getting sick. Listening to podcasts all the time, Joe Rogan, all the podcasts that you can think of, murder mysteries, all this stuff the whole time. And then, but also getting sick, like getting bigger. So one day I get on TikTok and I say to myself, so I'm like, this is the first social media thing I ever did, I get on TikTok and I said, hey, I don't know if I'm going to do this, but starting today, I'm going to start doing TikToks every day. I'm going to start working out every day. And, and that's how it started. I got on TikTok. I started doing like workout videos, but I didn't like explain to nobody, nothing to nobody because I didn't even know what I was doing. So I would just do like, how you can duet a motivational video. So I did duets. I just did like my thing and I would do like David Goggins in the background, like, come on, guys. So I started doing intermittent fasting and I became like a motivational like a character, Big Yogi's Garage. I started a podcast called Big Yogi's Garage and I started filming in my garage. And then I started renting like hotels, Airbnbs. And then eventually I met this guy at the gym and he ended up renting me a studio for $50 an episode. And then eventually I ended up getting a studio from across the hall and I ended up getting my own studio. And I still, the whole time I've been doing TikToks and I've been doing, Facebook, all this motivational stuff. So everything's going good. Podcast, Big Yogi's Garage, local artists, entrepreneurs, all this stuff from Toledo and stuff like that. But then one day I just so happened to go to church. I already was kind of feeling all of this like vibe, like I feel like God has me on a purpose, but I wasn't sure. And then I did find this like little keychain. I was cleaning a rental property. I was telling my employee about how my dad, he had a gold chain and some guy pulled up on him, right? And the guy's like, I like that chain. And then he swindled my dad from stealing my dad's gold chain. The guy gave my dad like a bunch of fake jewelry and he stole my dad's gold chain. And I was telling my employee, like, I think that's crazy, but it's like the devil works in mysterious ways. He took my dad's gold chain, it had a cross on it, right? I was telling my employee that. I get on a ladder and I open up this cabinet on top of the refrigerator and I look and it's a key fob with the cross. And it says something like, something about the cross. And I was looking at it and I was like, damn, that's crazy. I was just telling you about the cross because I was telling my employee, I was just telling you about the cross and look what I found, the cross. So I kept it. I put it in my pocket. That same day, some lady that I know from when I worked at the factory, she asked me something like, hey, Yogi, does your wife go to this church? I'm like, yeah, she does. This was like a Friday, right? So I'm like, man, what's going on? All this church stuff. So, and also the guy that does my tattoos, he messaged me like, Yogi, let's do a tattoo on Monday. I was like, I don't know what to do yet. So all of this stuff happening to me, right? So I call my wife. I said, babe, I'm going to church with you on Monday. or on Sunday. She's like, okay. So I go into church with my wife. The pastor's up there saying like, who wants to give their life to Jesus Christ and stuff. And in my mind, I'm like, nah, I'm good. I don't do that. I had plans to like grow my podcast and do like, I wanted to do like edibles and I wanted to promote, I had all this other stuff in my mind. But then finally, like my body just turned. I go up there, I repent for my sins. I told him, there's like a little prayer they do, gave the pastor a hug. Ever since then, dude, I just, that Monday, I went to go to the tattoo shop. He's like, what do you want? I ended up tattooing really big right here. I got 3 crosses. I got faith, love, and hope. And I got the date 3/3/24, the day that I got saved. Then after that, I felt like my ego was like, I was always flexing like Big Yogi's Garage. So I just felt like my ego was like taking off too big and I wanted to humble myself. So I changed the name of the podcast to Have Faith, Show Love, Give Hope. And I basically do the same thing. I still interview all kinds of different Toledo people, but I'm humble myself and just try to be like more of a godly person so people can see like, when they sit down with me, they can see like the Jesus in me. You know what I mean? Because that's what you want to do. When you do that, you want to not only just go to church, but you want to like kind of like be the person that kind of inspires people. Like by you living your life as a good person, you can like turn people into like following Jesus. But also I don't force feed any of this stuff to nobody on my podcast. I just like have conversations with people and I just want people to get to meet me and just like build like this beautiful like friendship and stuff like that.
How has your immigration status affected your everyday life since getting out of that ICE facility?
Well, it's like this burden that's on my back and it's like nobody really knows because people see like this guy that's going to work out, this guy that's doing podcasts and helping his mom create this like great business in Toledo. But like nobody knows like all of this stuff that at any moment, especially like with the stuff that's going on now with, President Trump just coming in and so everybody's talking about immigration and all this stuff. So that puts another burden on me, like, because I want to create something for the future, not only with my podcast, but with my cleaning business. Like I want to create something for the future, but at any moment, can they come and take me from my family? And I've been trying to do something positive for my community. So I try to do things like you, like try to outreach to people, but I haven't never ever received anybody that wants me to go talk to a prison or nobody that wants me to go talk to like certain kids. I've always wanted to do that, but it seems like the city that you're from doesn't really care about you until somebody else from outside starts caring.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Did you had that, right?
I still have that with Danbury. Danbury sucks.
Yeah, that's what
that's why I'm moving out of Danbury. They're very unsupportive over there.
Yeah. That's it, because like you promote Mike Bites, right?
Yeah, of course.
But there's places around here, but
it's very strange how those smaller kind of cities are the places your hometown kind of treats you, unless like you're super successful.
Yeah.
And I just have a lot of history with Danbury and whatnot, but I'm moving out of there actually this week.
Are you?
I'm moving to Richfield over here.
Okay.
Getting out of Danbury, time to spread my wings.
Are you still gonna have the studio over here?
Of course, yeah. This is Richfield too.
Oh, this is Richfield.
I'll be in Richfield, living in Richfield. What do you think is the biggest misconception about your status and what you've been through that you want to, portray to people? Because you hear, for instance, let's get rid of the immigrants that have committed crimes in the country.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, you fall under that category, even though you weren't a violent offender.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you feel about being labeled kind of in that group, and what's something you want people to know about kind of that blanket label?
Yeah, I can't speak for all of them because, some people do really bad things and those people need to go, and then that's fine. But somebody like me, like I've been here since I was 6 months old. I don't know nothing but the United States and Toledo, Ohio. I've grew up here my whole life. And so me, I feel like I know I made a mistake, man, but I got out and I've been trying my best to become a better person in my community, to be the light to be that guiding light to that kid so he doesn't have to go through the same mistakes that I did. And I post all this stuff on social media, and I try to promote living a good life, not just with like, cause like I told you, I'm Christian, but not only because of that, but just a good life every single day, to be like a good father, a good husband, a good friend, a good person in the community. I'm trying to make sure that, cause when I went to prison, you know how you can take letters and stuff. I didn't have too many people to write me letters of recommendation, but I've been trying to become a better person. So if immigration ever does come and get me, I can have, people, ever since I got out, those people can see like all the positive things that I've done since I've been out. So maybe that'll help me one day. I think also, it's hard for people that come from different countries to come here and get everything done legally, the 100% legal way. So a lot of people, they get caught up. I know that a lot of Cubans, when they come, there's always like that, the older Cuban guy that gives them like, fake credit cards and puts them to do stupid illegal things right away. So, be careful when you come to this country that you don't get caught up with the bad person that's going to guide you directly into the bad thing. You know what I mean? Try to understand that if you ever come to this country, or if you're in this country right now and you're an immigrant, a lot of people are here legally. They came through immigration and they're all legally, they're doing their paperwork. Just be aware. Don't do anything that was going to get you in any kind of trouble, not even from stealing a pack of gum to like, doing some kind of drug offense, because that right there is going to ruin your whole immigration, your whole immigration thing. So think about every single thing you do now that you're here in the United States, and make sure you're smart and do all your paperwork. Go to immigration, make sure you do every single step, make sure you apply for every single little thing, and don't think that, don't think that everything's going to be okay. And no, like me, because I just thought I got a green card, everything's going to be okay. But be careful, because if you get caught up in any situation, you'll be in a lot of trouble.
Now, have you thought about or given thought about what life would look like if you were to get deported? Do you have a plan for that?
Man, I've thought a bit about it, but I don't have a plan, because I guess if I was to get deported to Cuba, right, I would just go to Cuba and like figure out my life. But I don't have, I've left there when I was 6 months old. My whole entire family sold everything to come to the United States. So I would have to just start all over my whole life, and Cuba is like they cut your power off at night. It's like 100 degrees there. It's like in the Caribbean, So I wouldn't know what to do. I wouldn't know where to start. I wouldn't know nothing. The only thing is, luckily, I've created this platform in Toledo, and I've created this cleaning business where maybe the cleaning business could keep going, and then they could actually send me like $100 here and there, and I could just live on some, because that would still have to help my mom and everybody else, but they could at least send me something.
So what's your status as of now? Are you in touch with ICE, or how does that all work?
Yeah, I go to ICE every single year and report every single year in Cleveland. But my status, I think I'm just stateless in America. Cuba didn't accept me. America doesn't really want me. And that's the scariest part, man, because like I can't go travel or not, like I can come here like in the United States, but I can't go to any other country because I don't have the paperwork to go either in or out of a country.
You don't have a passport.
I don't have a passport. I don't have nothing like that. So, and basically, and I'm still trying to help my mom create this business. I don't have like all these thousands of dollars to like, to fight this case in like federal, or not federal, but immigration or anything. The one thing is, by me doing all of this positive things in my community, I think maybe one day I could probably get like a governor's pardon or a presidential pardon if I do something good enough or I deserve something like that. But that's kind of like the only thing that I can like look up. I think that I can get now is a pardon where they say, Yogi, for all the good things that you've done since you've been out of prison, maybe we can pardon, your all the stuff that happened before.
Yeah, I mean, I think hearing these types of stories definitely gives a different perspective. And I think each case is definitely situational. You know, obviously we want the violent offenders that are here illegally out of the country, which is what I think they're pushing. And there are a lot of non-violent offenders that are here in the country too. And I think each case needs to be evaluated. How long they've been here. I mean, if you came here as a child, you know, you didn't knowingly enter the country illegally.
No, I came in legally, and I had the green card.
Okay.
Yeah, no, because at the time that I came in, President Jimmy Carter and Fidel Castro opened the sea, and we all came legally.
Okay.
I didn't like break no laws or anything.
Okay, yeah. I know you had mentioned the green card. I didn't know if physically at that moment at the crossing. So that's all things that I think need to be taken into account on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah, and I agree with you. Like if somebody was to do something really bad, like, you know, murder, all this stuff, like these gangsters and stuff, that's fine. To me, bro, I'm an American citizen. I know it's hard that I'm not American citizen. I say that, but dude, I am American, bro. I've been here since I was 6 months old. I bleed like red, white, and blue. Like I believe in all this, like a lot of the stuff, like you know, the stuff that people say, like, you know, yeah, like I'm not this big Trump supporter, but I like some of the stuff they do. I like some of the stuff they, you know, they apply into the government. But I'm like, dude, if I was born 6 months later, I would be American citizen, bro. And it sucks that I'm in this position where I feel like this big burden on my back that I have to carry on forever.